Hey guys, so as of filming this, it is Tuesday. Also, I got a haircut. Uh, it should be more, up a little bit. It's supposed to be Hawkeye's haircut from Endgame. Hence why I'm doing the Booktube Endgame Tag. It's actually pure coincidence that I got my haircut today and they came out with the Booktube Endgame Tag. So, I just thought that was perfect, and I couldn't resist a Tag Tuesday. Even though when I upload this, I'm not sure if it's still going to be Tag Tuesday because, it's like 7, and I don't know how long it's going to take me to edit this, and then I have to upload it. So, who knows what time it'll actually be. Hopefully still Tuesday, though. Before we get into this, you may be like, oh, but did you do anything to the back? Yes, I did. It's Hawkeye, guys. I left the back intact. It's basically a mohawk. So, anyway, I'm gonna fix it a little bit. There we go. That's a little better, don't you think? I think so. But anyway, let's get on with the questions. And this is like a kind of, okay, so it was explained like you're snapping, I can't snap, fun fact, but you're snapping away, like it's a this or that kind of thing, and you snap away the other option. So like, I thought that was cool, and I liked the questions, and I got my hair cut like Hawkeye in Endgame, so like, obviously I'm doing this tag. But anyway, let's get on to said questions. The first one is paperback or hardback, and like, this is really hard for me because I love paperback books, but I also love hardback books, and in the end, like, I just like the aesthetic of hardback books, and, like, I don't know, sometimes paperback books are a little hard to, like, hold in the way that I read, like, they want to close on me, and I'm just, like, not about that life, whereas, like, hardbacks, they open up very nicely, and you don't have to worry about potentially losing your place, because usually, if it's a hardback book, it's just easier to open and stay open, in my experience. So, that's why I'm choosing hardback, but I still love me some paperback books, and, like, they're cheaper usually, so, like, I do own quite a few of paperback books. Number 2 is science fiction or fantasy. This is another hard one because I like both, but when it comes down to it, I think that I prefer fantasy just because, like, you can do more with fantasy, like, it's more diverse. Like, there's, like, high fantasy, but there's, like with, like, elves and, like, Lord of the Rings, obviously, is, like, high fantasy. But there's also, like, I consider, like, magical realism to be fantasy. Even though it's just, it's kind of its own thing, but, like, it's usually under the fantasy umbrella. Like, so there's a lot more under the fantasy umbrella than I feel like there is with science fiction. So I feel like that's why I'm choosing fantasy. Number 3 is poetry or prose. And even though I love me the Iliad, y'all, I can't do poetry most of the time, so I have to go with prose. Really, the only poetry that I actively like and, like, want to read are, like, epic poems like the Iliad and the Odyssey, so, like, it's really not a hard choice to pick prose. Number 4 is Hemingway or Fitzgerald. Okay, y'all, confession time. I don't think I've actually read a book by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I was not required to read The Great Gatsby in high school or college, so I just never read it. I haven't read The Great Gatsby, and so I don't think I've read any of his other work. I might have read some of his other work, but, like, I don't remember it. Whereas I do remember reading, like, I don't know which short story it was. I think it was about a man on a boat, but I'm not completely sure. Could have been one of his other ones, but I have read Hemingway. So for that reason alone, I have to go with Hemingway, because I've actually read some of his work, where I'm pretty sure that I haven't read any Fitzgerald, so sorry. I'd love to Midnight in Paris. I'm pretty sure Tom Hiddleston played F. Scott Fitzgerald. You know, it was great, even though I'm pretty sure it was made by one of the really shitty people in Hollywood. But anyway, Hemingway is my answer to that question. Number 5 is fiction or nonfiction, and like obviously it's fiction. Like I'm all about that escapism, and you can't do that with nonfiction. I like nonfiction, don't get me wrong, I do like nonfiction. I just don't read a lot of it because I like to read for escapism. And you just can't do that with nonfiction. Like, I don't want to read about the world. I want to escape from the world. So, it's definitely fiction. Number 6 is Harry Potter or The Hunger Games. See, this is tricky. Most people would just say Harry Potter, obviously. But, like, this is tricky because, like, I didn't grow up with Harry Potter. So, I don't really have that nostalgia factor playing into it. And, like, I actually read the Hunger Games books before the movies came out. So, like, I think it was one of the first, like, book to movie adaptations that I actually read the book first. So, like, I really like the Hunger Games. But I think when it comes down to it, I think I'd rather reread Harry Potter than I would the Hunger Games. So, I think I am actually going to go with Harry Potter, but it's not as cut and dry as most people would think it was. Number 7 is classics or modern, and the answer is modern, because I read a shit ton of more modern books than I do classic books. Like I said, I love me the Iliad, and I also really like Les Mis, but like, in general, those are really, like, the only classics that I really like reading. I'm sure there are probably more out there that I probably like, but, like, I love me some modern fiction, y'all. It's basically all I read. Okay, so number 8 is reading or writing, and it was pitched as you can only read, you can't write, but you can read as much as you want, or you can write, but you can't read anything. So I'm going to choose reading because I only really write things based on things that I've read about. So, like, my 2 plays that I've written, that I've actually gotten produced. I've technically written 3 plays, but one of them hasn't been produced, and that one is kind of preachy and probably will never get produced, so, whatever. The other 2, though, are 10-minute plays, and one is about, like, Achilles hosting a game show. It's called So You Think You Know Achilles. And then the other one is called Alexander the Ghost, where Alexander the Great comes back and haunts a professor who teaches that Alexander the Great was straight. So obviously, the first one is essentially, like, Patrick Hilly's fanfiction. And the second one, like, I would have had to read about Alexander the Great. Like, I do not have, like, I was not born knowing about Alexander the Great. I had to read a history textbook to find out about Alexander the Great. So, and then I write fan fiction too, so, like, that is obviously based on things that I've read. So, like, I really couldn't write anything if I didn't have things that I read about. You feel me? So it's definitely reading for me. Number 9 is unlimited reading time, but you can't pick the book, or 1 hour of reading time daily from the book of your choice. And this is actually pretty easy for me because, like, as it stands, I don't read a shit ton in a day. So, like, an hour a day of reading, if I get to pick the book, sounds like an excellent choice, because I don't want to have to read books that people pick for me, because what if they're shitty? What if I don't want to read them? Then I'm not going to really use the unlimited reading time, you know? Like, I want to read what I want to read, even if I can only read it an hour a day. So, I definitely would have to choose an hour a day of reading, because I need to be able to choose the book. And the last question is Adrian Ford or Dalton Gentry? Now these 2 people are the people that do Stripped Cover Lit, who created this tag. I forgot to mention that in the opening, but they created this wonderful tag, and I will leave a link to their channel in the description. And, you know, I like them both. And I can't really tell who comments, like, on my videos, like, you know, because I don't think they do, like, dash whoever. So I can't be, like, biased in that sense. So, like, I don't know. I don't really know, y'all. Like, they're both great. This is like paperbacks and hardbacks all over again. I don't know. I feel like my reading tastes align a little bit more with Dalton than Adrian, so for that reason, I'm gonna pick Dalton. But I love you both, guys. Like, I love you both. And thank you for creating this tag. I am going to tag a few people because why not? And I'll leave links to their channels in the description as well. So anyway, I'm going to tag Cats and Camera. I'm going to tag Tomes and Tunes. I'm going to tag Jaylee James. I'm also going to tag Graham Quigley, even though he takes forever to do tags. But maybe he'll get around to this one eventually. And if she's watching this, I know she likes tag videos. I'm also going to tag Savvy to do this, even though she might have already watched the video and decided to do it. I don't know. I'm tagging you though, Savvy. Your channel, like, by the way, has grown, like, so fast. Like, congratulations is definitely in order. So, yep, those are all the people that I'm going to tag. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.